scared are the oppressors. The only people who could have any harm coming to them are those who oppress. Simple as that.
3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. It's time for a change, gotta bounce up. The oppressor's about to get tossed up. I'ma lay your mouth, execution style's too late for an apologetic claim. You wrapped in a cloak of flame, by God, it's overdue. Your time is in the end. Locked Jah silent without sin. He put me on the planet for justice to win. The oppressor's about to get rolled on, with suppressors attached in the war zone. Revolution can start in the Arizona. I'm a messenger prophet like Farrakhan, backed by the honorable, who sits at the pinnacle, who judges the hypocritical, cynical, and the plentiful sinful. My thinking is critical. I'm just ventilating of the actions of the protective service. Quick to pull the Glock, blast and kill. This don't take any type of skill. I'm ill of all citizens who haven't took a stand. O'Neill's too late when the caps get bills. Don't believe in TC type. Ruin hits close to home. You gotta act the bone, but it got the dome when it's on the zone. All red in my vision through sight. It's killer be killed whenever I fight. From above I've been given the right. So you better be ready to ride tonight. All the way to the dawn daylight. We gon' win them all, so gon' pass the kite. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender. 3 pound pressure, no weight lesser. Drop the oppressor, me no surrender.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme, gimme, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, if you taught that from school, everywhere, big business, you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme, 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 push, 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 step, 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 crush, crush, crush. That's how it all is, and it's like, nobody ever stopped.
Salute, what's going on? What's going on? Gracious is hot.
Now watch time and space rock the great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark, ways the heart as I sun ray my art or make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fake marks. Once we make knowledge one is when time and space rock the great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark, ways the heart as I sun ray my art or make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fake marks. Once we make knowledge one is when the run and bass drop. I rose up, took a shower, purified my arc field, took copper for a wall to ensure my chlorophyll is pumping. Done some pros for sure, I've more to build. Solid foundation, my crown chakra core and here, pound the pavement. Sacred ground, freedom I stand for. Free all political prisoners of war, man or woman and child. Rid the land of all foreign and alien entities. I decree this morning, send them back to whence they came. Is the peace laugh or war cry, whatever the relevant name of each path, simple, highest form, spiritualities, how you teach math, a humble beach is still a beach, now feel the beach raft, rain fire upon them, and the internet forms, sigils, emojis, and the avatars that wore them, destroy this de facto government and its quorums, establish Big Ma's house so she may restore him, the great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates this spark. Ways the heart as I sun ray my art, her make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fakes. Marks once we make knowledge born is when time and space rock. The great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark. Ways the heart as I sun ray my art, her make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fakes. Marks once we make knowledge born is when rhyme and bass drop. The legs post, note to self, quit playing, hit the gas. This shaft is called my turn, take the risk and smash. Most of them got vaccinated with chips in their ass, plus rappers sacrificing each other for grist in their cash. Sad can't watch videos with other subliminals, predictive programming, weirdo shrunk menstrual shows. The land's contaminated, fruits and vegetables, black minerals, the water and skies I fry. Liquid chemicals, technology got me here in front of my desktop, perusing these beats and whatnot for my best option, contemplating which bar will next spot to unlock the minds that are stuck within a Xbox. Off the chart, I continue to climb, watching the rest flop like carp fishing, 100% fresh shark water. I'm on the front line, X marks the spot. I shine because of her, for she's the best part. The great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark. Ways the heart as I sun ray my art, her make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fakes. Marks once we make knowledge born is when time and space rock. The great matriarch, whether it's day or dark, creates the spark. Ways the heart as I sun ray my art, her make the patriarch. Most social media saviors are fakes. Marks once we make knowledge born is when the run and bass drop.
That's not nice. Okay? I got your water, too, okay? We don't do that. I'm gonna check you every time.
All praises to the Most High. All praises to the great matriarch.
I'm check you now.
Honor and respect to our ancestors. Jah, you've always had a father, the off of your flow. For your fire starter, the cause of your glow. But the trail I've blazed, I pray you turn from it. The hell I've raised, I pray you don't burn from it. The work I put in, I pray that you earn from it. The mistakes I've made, I pray that you learn from it. You my splitting image, a little darker, a little taller. I'm a shot caller, though you just a little baller. But chief, I'm still teaching you like he got yang. My healing reaching you despite me lock and chain. Black you speaking true, you ignite lots of pain. I feel the releasing of lightning and drops of rain from the sound cloud. You sound like me, the crown sprout. But unlike me, you haven't turned down out a smoke screen which surrounds you, shrouds your sound. My shout allow your genius to astound the crowd, my beloved. You scintillate profusely, you my beloved. You resent fate foolishly, you my beloved. Do ventilate truthfully, you my beloved son, in who I'm well pleased. Okay, showing your vision is resplendent, my descendant when filming your intuition extends the lenses felt when your cinematographic flashes of your scripted class get your inner magic, dramatic action mixed with vivid aspects mastered, surpasses the average glass, stretches the facet through the scope of life's Kodak you see classic. The question you have is mathematics, please ask it. Son, Earth's a classroom, so put your hand up. At last, boom, you already knew the answer. I pray to God to give me another chance for the love of my life, my wife, just a romance her. In the misconception, no time for second guessing. It's destined, you knew who was who through a reflection that she showed you of me many years ago. Special features presentation appears to show you my beloved. You scintillate profusely, you my beloved. You resent fate foolishly, you my beloved. Do ventilate truthfully, you my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. Now Samuel, I am your fan for show that the signal is a scramble or deprogrammable. From a little cub to a lion, not of my bloodline. Don't give a damn, though love you as if you was mine. I'll be the first Forgive me for my actions. The Most High sat me down to learn patience through abstinence. Amongst other lessons, perfect my crafts and talents. Balance of our legacy in the Black Hawk's talents. Face adversity, overcome all challenges. Generational wealth for the next generation to us. Can't make the same mistakes of past tense instead. Let's create an after we've cried relapses type of atmosphere. Redirected fire, recalibrate the energy to propel us higher. As sovereign, opulent, autocratus, Nijis. I look at all three of my sons. On God, I see me. You my beloved. You scintillate profusely. You my beloved. You resent fate foolishly. You my beloved. Do ventilate truthfully. You my beloved sons in whom I'm well pleased.
We can't have you eating that.
Let me get something with some feel to it, some funk to it. Come on. I think I like that. Can we get some heavy drums in there? More like Caribbean, Caribbean. Yeah. Yes, bounce to this. I'm just a black man title, yo, you give me that. I like them imports, never push the Cadillac. And what you figure, Mr. Man, why you kicking back with sick plans to get you stacked, making chickens fat? You know you into that, chilling with your timber cat. Intoxicated to the point, past sinful acts. Be very nimble, Jack, or you will get a water back. And have your heart broke just like a heart attack. Look where your power at, no, not the idle cats. It's deeper than tats and hurricanes and old maps. The spirit flows, so my folks throw daps. Meant for the wise as well as the spoiled rat. So you can fold up or either you can fold back. I hold no judgment over those that have chose crack. Terror over habit that has been proven to hold back. With God on your side, you can get your soul back.
What's going on? What's going on there, buddy?
We need some 3 parts on this mess up. I can't carry my boys that chorus.
So a few more people come up in here.
Yo, we need y'all 3-part harmony on this. I don't know how you can work it out, but work it out. Hope you can see by the end of the night how deep this music is. What is it, brother, the man who gave the world and lose his soul? Hope you can see by the end of the night how
Deep this music is.
what is it, brother, the
Man, the game, the world, and lose his soul.
Into the room, you feel a certain doom. You might lose your hearing from the sonic boom. Out of the mouth is a sword, and I'm taking you out. You try to stop me, and I'm faking you out. Man, I wish I had an apprentice to build this work. Collaborate on synthesis, and I hope you remember this. Keep your enemy near to you. Far away, keep those that are dear to you. I hate beer, but I used to drink the brew. Heavily into the little habit, turned deadly. I used to have a bud every day.
Survival. This is
Intoxicated to the point.
Get you one. Cut. You know that way you can. For a first aid kit, you don't have a Swiss Army knife. Get you a Defender Extreme. All right, because it has. Not only does it have a knife, a seatbelt rescue knife. You can use it for other things as well. You know, for other rescue things. And then right here, this is my favorite because y'all know I like to make fires. So I have this where I can scrape it off with the knife and I can get a spark so that way I can start a fire. And if you know how to make tinder, a tinder bunch, you know what I'm saying? So get you a good one, okay? So I've had this for a long time, as you can see. But this, I got to take it off and bend it back. It always does that. When I put it on my utility belt, I got to get a different class. You can change them out. But get you one. It's got the little saw in it, which works. Like getting a little tender. You got to get some wet stuff to dry, just to have fire. Stay away from pine, all right, if you can, all right. And then it's got the window breaker. So you just grab it like this here. You see what the blade is? You put it like that, and you take it and you hit it right in the middle, right near the bottom of the window, and it'll break it and cause it to come in, okay? So in case you see somebody in a lake, they just went in, you dive in, you make sure you got this in your hand, so when you go up to it, let the water start filling in. Don't let it go to the bottom. Let the water get to a point, because the water's going to rush in and it's going to confuse them. And the car might tip, depending on how low you got to go. If you got to follow that car all the way to the bottom or wait for it to hit, even if it's 15 feet down below the lake, you wait for it to hit the bottom. There is still air in it. Swim down, get deep breaths, swim down, bust the window. That way the car won't tilt, and you can extract them and slowly bring them to the top. Do not panic. Bring them to the top, get them up, do a side man hold, get your deep breath. If you got a flutter kick to drag them with the body hanging, keep their head above water, almost in a dead man hold. That means around here, okay? Or up and under, all right? And get to where you can walk and bring them up out of the river. It's not complicated, people.
There's no need to sell crack just to live fat. Why don't black superstars simply give back when they know it's a struggle?
That's enough. How's it going, everybody? Y'all saw the thumbnail. And even though I have the book, I'm not going to read none from the book. I was going to actually read it yesterday evening. I took a nap that went into about 3 o'clock this morning. So, and then me and Snooster, we chat a lot. So they are interrupting and trying to hide our conversations. So, at least in my opinion, which it always pops up anyway. So anyway, I'm going to address some things because I was watching Hodge Twins and Tatum was on there, you know, off Tatum, whatever you want to call him. Now, a lot of y'all know that I am very biased when it comes to ignorance, but I'm not going to sit up here cursing and throwing things around. I've already alluded to the fact, I don't think they're going to come over here and watch this. I don't think they're, because you know what, when you get to, you know what I said about egos? I could build a platform on my family's name alone. I could walk in that. I can go and just get $500,000 like that. All right. If it's about that fake fiat, and I can mingle amongst the people who know the family, who might remember me from younger, and put myself in that spot to be like, did a savior come and all this other stuff? What I'm saying, this is for you, so you can pass on to your children. And if any of them decide to come and watch, then so be it. Cool. All right. First, I'm going to start off with a little history, but I want to say there's enough of us out there teaching real history. Curamio had an excellent live, and this, again, don't mention the Chazars. He couldn't do the whole thing. It's not hard to find this stuff, but he'll have it on his Patreon, too, for those who are non-members if you choose to become a member. Rondo and Westside are another two that like to put together good information to piggyback off of certain things that they find paramount and important. Nobody's picking back. Everybody does their own thing is the most beautiful thing. Niece reads. She's she's not just a literary. She's very intelligent. And that's what we need more of our sisters to be. You know, Snoop can find anything out if you put it out there, just like Lloyd. We have a scruple of things. And DJ, like I said before, when it comes to words, phonetics, the things that I like to do, he's in that same department to find the things outside of. Some of you know that I've read a lot of occult stuff. I don't like the word occult. There's another word for it, but we're not here for that. My topic today is black, the relationship between the so-called Jew and the so-called Negro. Right now, we're dealing with in your faces. For those of you who have been around here since at least 1990, you have literally been a witness to how these individuals work. You have actually been a witness to how they change it in your face. Because see, when I was growing up, everyone knew the Negro and the African were totally separate. Everybody. All right, with the Lebanese front that was created by the feds, just like the Black Panther movement, created by the feds. I don't care what you think. But it took off on its own string when you let people get too much out of the pocket. It was to stop things, because you need to know that more police officers, ex-police officers within Vietnam vets who were in the Black Panther Party, who never folded. And that was the biggest fear. But like I said, it was destroyed from the inside out. That's not going to happen with us. There's nothing they can do. It doesn't matter what foolish individual endeavors they push. With us, we have shed more light than any Hebrew movement, than the Muslim movement, and the Christian movement. Well, Christianity and Islam has held a dark lie over us, except for those. Arafat mentioned who we were. So did, what's the name? The other one, Palestine in the 70s mentioned who we were. Idi Amin, who they vilified, who was not a cannibal because he got him away. He saw exactly what they were doing. He knew who we were. And you have a whole lot of folk that knew who we are, except for the cowards. Now, am I saying the Hodge twins and Officer Tatum or Tatum? I know his whole name, but I'm gonna say it like that so you know if you want to look it up. Am I saying they're cowards? Of course not. I'm not using it in that way. What I want to do is I want to broach upon certain things. And now y'all know there's plenty of videos going back. People can watch the videos and they can find out for themselves who created this, who initiated that, and look at the group of individuals. Because what's mind-boggling to me is that melanated or carbon people will let someone who pushed racism, who created the disenfranchisement, all right, will allow them to tell their history and who they are. You know, every time I see a so-called Native American who choose not to know what Native American means, Native American does not mean American Indian. And this is what y'all been seeing from 1990. You have been seeing this compilation of these new age ignoramuses because of Logbook, AOL.com, and MySpace, when nobody was really saying nothing until it became Facebook and Instagram, because people literally were paid to come and break things up as they were happening. This is your government. We're going to get into some names. We can go through Ruth Benedict. We can go through Margaret Mead. We can go through Bronzelaw, Manowski. We can go through Edward Seiper. We can go through Edward Burnett Tyler, Alfred Korber, Lewis Henry Morgan, Claude Levi Strauss. We can go on and on and on, but we're going to keep it real simple today. I don't want to hurt your brain. Okay? First of all, do I need to break down black again? Black comes from the Proto-Germanic word meaning what? Bleak, blank, blonde, without, bleach, right? But, you know, means the opposite of what it actually says. And then another term for it, if you're dealing with sea or maritime laws, it literally means dead. Do we need to get into Negro? The reason, this is the relationship between the so-called Jew, and you know that, and I know, and it's sad that these people that get this little $1 million in platform, they give away cars and everything, tell comedy and jokes. In the comedy sector was a benefit of the liars, was a benefit to the liars as much as the Black Power movement that was created by the very same individuals who we're going to enlighten ourselves about today. So that way, people will stop calling themselves black because they have been so well indoctrinated. It's called brainwash. The funny thing about when you see Tatum and the Hodge twins talk, you see them talking about people being brainwashed. Well, it's very clear and poignant for most melanated people to know that we were the original Republican Party. They attempted to change that in 2000 to where, we took it over for a moment. No, we were always the original Republicans. And that's why I said of Tartary. I know it's hard to accept that. This was not called America. America is this little place, and that's how it's pronounced, by Brazil. I mean, take it however you want. This is about education. Where's the facts? Well, I've given the resources and everything else. All you got to do is pull up some maps. All you got to do is pull up some maps and not coin yourself to some fake globe in a school. Like when you walk into a store, the first thing you see is sweets and candies and donuts. Tell me I'm lying. Then you see fried chickens and soups that are made from leftovers from the store because they can't sell it on the aisles no more. And then you see the produce to which you can't even smell. If that is not a numbing effect, it's the same thing that's been happening for quite some time by these very individuals. So we're going to speak on some of these things. First, I want to start with Franz Boas. In the history of the world, if we've all existed for some thousands of years, why would we need anybody if the flood was supposed to be 2,700 something years ago? Why would we need anybody to be an anthropologist? Culturally centered around American anthropology. What's the necessity of that? What is its purpose? See, this is why I say it's important to understand the world fairs. Because whenever I talk to the Native communities and I talk to them about Tartary over the last 30 years, they was like, what are you talking about? See, and there's quite a few of us that know about Tartary, and we draw upon it. Not because we went to read it, because we heard about it and we were told about it by our elders. And they always told us, be quiet, don't say nothing. And we would go, and the books were right there. And that's why I say most of the people came here in 1920s and 40s, because it is well known, and even in 1918, even in 1895, that it was taught to those coming over here because it was taught by us. I had this one guy want to argue with me because I guess he watched the little thing I did on TikTok. He wanted to have a little argument. I shut him up real quick. And so did the people around me. He says, what are you talking about? Indian training school. I says, we were in those schools because we were showing y'all how we live. We were showing you some of our routines and how things were done. What you weren't aware of was the great cities. And we're talking about the early 1900s, before they became boarding schools. And man, he just had to, because they still have boarding schools. I says, well, what were they called in the first place? Called Indian training schools. Do you think it means to train? Because every time you say kill off the Indian, telling the Indian he ain't Indian and he was still walking around calling himself Indian? No. When you tell them to give up their whole identity, to accept black, Negro, to move away from their whole thing and to get up off the land and move into a city or into a project, and this is a reality because where the so-called Jews were, the Ashkenaz, Chazars, whatever you want to call it, I can say Gujars, it's a more polite word because it's a reality. And yet, when you think about Kit Carson, even Mark Twain bartering, even Mr. Bass Reeves and his team, because Bass Reeves was not by himself, all right, who they want to play like they're African now, which they never wore, not 1 ounce of this new age African blood, because Africa didn't exist until when? 19 what? Oh, that's what I thought. Just like Nigeria didn't exist until 1961. See, people have a hard time with this, and because you have these fake teachers, these fake professors who work on curriculum based on what Rockefeller, because the Rockefeller Foundation and all that still plays a major part, because didn't it support Margaret Sanger? The AME Church, Spickle, right? The Epicostal, whatever it's called. I can't stand those names. Anyway, right? So Franz Boas works theories and facts. What are the facts? That he was a liar. The theory, the change and switch places must have been completed. Okay? Why do I say that? Well, if you look at The Guardian and you look at Stubbornly, no. Fighting for Life, how Arthur Kessler reported the birth of Israel. Now, I know you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Well, I'm just going to read a very little bit, okay? Let me grab this right here if you don't mind. Excuse me. To see, enough is enough. Let me move this back a little. Even though I'm flexible, with my bad back, I still have to do things a certain way. Yeah, and don't worry, I got a deep country accent. I just don't like talking with it here. So I'll let things slide there once in a while. Because somebody said, boy, you... I said, man, please, now. I said, all them years down and south, man, please. I just choose to sound a little more proper. Anyway, as you know, Arthur Kessler, the 13th tribe. Now, you know how they died, right? Sitting upright at the dinner table. If you would study on some assassinations, you would come to learn that it's common with the Mossad to do that. MI6, CIA. CIA America, over here, they're a little dirtier, but destruction, but so was the Mossad all the way around with bombs and phones and everything else. So anyway, in the beginning was chaos and muddle. In the beginning was chaos and muddle. Reads the first line of the June 1948 dispatch from the coastal city of Tel Aviv. The state of Israel was less than a month old when the Manchester Guardian launched a series of articles by the journalist and novelist Arthur Kessler. Pay attention. The country had declared independence on 14th of May. Okay? I'll do it later, man. Stay on my way. Anyway, excuse me. In the midst of a conflict with Arab Palestinians, coupled with Arab's a new term too. Y'all aware of that? Anyway, coupled with an invasion by surrounding states, Israel had no clearly accepted borders, but was hastily forming a government. So young was the country that the Israeli visas stamped on. You got to remember, Israel is not a place; it's a people. But that's a whole nother. And I just hope these people, you people who call yourselves black and everything else, I hope you really listen and pay attention. Israeli visas stamped on Kessler's and his partner's passport in Paris were numbered 5 and 6. On arrival, he found airport signs freshly painted in English and Hebrew, while immigration and customs officers had not yet received uniforms. Now, here is bureaucracy in a state of virginal innocence, or virginal. I didn't want to say it, but I want to say Virginia, but virginal innocence, before it has had time to spin itself into a cocoon of red tape, wrote Kessler in his first article titled Israel, Fresh Impressions. 70 years ago, Kessler had published Darkness at Noon. I would actually go and read that. Darkness at Noon. I'll put it in here. Okay. 1940. Okay. So to give you a little time. And was established as a buccaneering left-wing intellectual and close friend of George Orwell. He arrived to an Israel vastly unrecognizable from the regional powerhouse it is today. Notwithstanding open conflict, Israel's untested leaders were gathering Jewish militant factions into one army and forming a nation of disparate Jews from across Europe and the Middle East. After close to 3 decades in which the territory had been under the British mandate of Palestine, the United Nations proposed in 1947 to split the area into 2 forming independent Arab and Jewish states. And the Civil War erupted because it's not their place. And they knew these people were not Jews. Civil war erupted and Jewish leader later announced Israel's creation. So they just created a new people, huh? Y'all paying attention? The first year or two of Israel's existence will be decisive for its future, and it depends on its leaders who have resurrected the Jewish state against almost impossible odds, wrote Kessler, because he was part of that. Born in Hungary in 1905, the Jewish parents Kessler had embraced a myriad of 20th century political movements, and describing himself as the Casanova of causes, sometime communist, anti-fascist, anti-death penalty, and pro-euthanasia. Kessler was captured by Franco's forces in the Spanish Civil War in the late 1930s and narrowly avoided, which you never really hear too much of, avoided being executed after he was arrested for spying. Later in 1940, he managed to escape from the Nazis when they invaded France and made his way to Britain. They were doing their best to get rid of these Zionists. Despite all this, chief among his political obsessions may have been the establishment of the Jewish state. Kessler, who first traveled to Palestine in 1926 as a Jewish settler, once described himself as a young dual-fighting Zionist. We're talking about the same one, people, who turns around to tell the truth. A controversial Malicent, the writer was known to be a manipulative sexual predator. Now, you know who's writing this. And an alleged rapist. Well, haven't you all watched any of on the IDF, before they became an IDF, telling the stories of how they treated the Palestinians, what they did to the women and the children? I would advise you to go watch these videos of these individuals who are now in their 80s and 90s. Michael Foot's wife, Jill Craigie, was one of his alleged victims, confirming a claim made in a 1999 biography. Further contention was added to his record after he and his wife killed themselves in 1983. That's like Bill Cosby. He drugged the women back in the 70s. Wasn't that the summer still of love? Who wasn't taking pills and drugs in 1970? I just want to know. But anywho, further contention was added to his record after he and his wife killed themselves in 1983, even though she was healthy and years younger than him. Police found the pair seated in chairs in the living room, of their the Knightsbridge home. I always thought it was the kitchen. My apologies. Kessler began his Israel dispatches in deserted Haifa, Israel, I've been there many times, a Mediterranean town, if you remember us reading about the Algonquins who found Europe. Anyway, let's carry on. Mediterranean town where weeks before his arrival, he reported that most of the post city's 70,000 Arabs had fled amid fierce fighting with Jewish forces. Kessler's take was that it fell because the Arab population, though only slightly inferior in numbers and superior in arms, were utterly demoralized through the desertion of their leaders. The Haganah, which would later become the IDF, or Mossad, a Jewish paramilitary organization that went on to become the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, had broadcast in Arabic the names of the deserters to demoralize the Arab gunmen, to which he wrote, Arabs featured only occasionally in Kessler's articles. The native Palestine Arabs, he said, never fought seriously because they had no reason for fighting. Does that bring anything to mind? In a world where all was welcome and everything was well, that when calamity held, why would we fight people unless we knew their intentions? A loving and righteous people. Having accepted the presence of the Jews with its economic benefit and the de facto partition as accomplished facts, traveling down the coastal road from Haifa to Tel Aviv, Kessler said his view was confirmed by Arab farmers in Israel who he said were unmolested while being treated with equanimity, and trading produce with Jews. It was not clear if he had stopped to speak to them. Now, Anita Shapira, an Israeli historian who has focused on the early years of statehood, says this: very idyllic description of farmers working in the fields baffled me. It was far from reality. We are talking about almost 10 months of civil war between the Palestinians and the Jews, and then a month of fighting with the Arab states. I don't think anybody could have imagined idyllic relations between Jews and Arabs at that time. Now, more than 700,000 Palestinians fled or were driven from their homes in the war surrounding Israel's creation. And in Israel's creation, creating a new people, y'all. In order to establish a new world order, you must first get rid of its origin and its truth. An event that is commemorated by Palestinians every year on the 15th of May as the Nakba, or catastrophe. Okay, let's be clear about that. Tens of thousands of Palestinians stayed and make up about a fifth of Israel's modern-day population by the time of this story. Iman Abu Hana Nahas, who has written a PhD on the collective memory of the Nakba for Palestinians, says the relationship between Arabs remaining inside Israel, many of them, they actually call the place Israel, can you believe that? Many of whom were intentionally displaced, varied significantly. When you are defeated and you know what you've lost, that you've lost your home, mind you, I'm not sure you would have good relations, she says. Other Palestinians who had fled but were trying to return to the new state were blocked. But she adds, in other cases, there was amicability, which one of the only times an Arab source did appear in Kessler's reports was when he interviewed two Egyptian prisoners who he said displayed about the lowest moral I have ever saw among combatants in any army. Kessler had already written much on Palestine, including Thieves in the Night, a novel inspired by his experience in an agricultural kibbutz. A 1946 review in the New York Times, which you could look at, called it editorial angry and partisan. It added, there is never a time when the book's Jewish settlers protagonist questions the right of his people to dominate the land in which the Arabs are and have long been in a majority. It goes on to further speak on his change and the fact that dealing with George Orwell was enlightening because George Orwell himself would coin terms and letting to be carried down the river of life to expose the lies. Now, what's repugnant is the fact that here in this country, it took them from the 1950s, after the Reconstruction period, up until 50s, 1950s, y'all, 60, 70, 80, 90, to have two generations running, or one really generation that they played with these alphabet letters X and Z, and I can't believe y'all buy into that. I mean, Y and Z, or whatever you want to call it, millennials and all this other nonsense, to destroy a real history. And it took those of us talking about the so-called X generation who are still paramount in telling a truth. Now, I'm not done. Yet here, Arthur Kessler alludes to the fact that them not being Jewish at all, the majority of them. As you have seen in the wars, Zelensky's won himself. And as you know, Putin and all of them could be considered themselves as well, because it's converts on a religion that never existed, as is described in this book, and even further pushed in this book. When we didn't write these books, their own people wrote these books because they have a little more insight on what may come. You have these melanated individuals running around because of what the FBI and the CIA done to your ancestors. A lot of them, mind you. Excuse me. I'll go back over here. How they destroyed the family, how they stole the land, and it was all funded and created, as you will see when we further read, in Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper, that these same Gujars, when you think about rabbinic literature, the fact that everybody was always talking about the Torah and the Talmud and all this stuff, when if you really pay attention, you'll come to realize that the Jewish Babylonian text, Aramaic so-called, which has nothing to do with Yiddish, because Yiddish is not an Aramaic language, nor an ancient one, is based upon the Talmud. Now, how many of you have ever read the Talmud? How many of you? Well, Nenahim Nahum Trevis, 14 August 1779 in Prague. And he died around 1842, age 62 in Prague. Religion, Judaism. We as a people were never a religion. That's why they converted. Y'all know the story of King Bulan, right? Have y'all ever studied about Gujars? Let me read this. He was a son of Seleg Trevis Hazan at the Old New Synagogue. And he received a thorough Talmudical training at the yeshiva of Jacob Gunsberg upon the recommendation of the Landesrabbiner Mordecai Bennett. Trevis became rabbi of Protestant, freaking words, anyway, in 1826, but it's Prostejov, okay? I know it doesn't sound the way I was going to read it. That's why I said, let me not say it. I could go over and translate it. I don't care to say it. On May 13th, 1832, the government confirmed the election of Trevis as Landsrabbiner of Moravia in succession to Mordecai Bennett, and granted him a salary of 600 florins. He was the last Moravian, oh my goodness, I'm getting started, Moravian Landsrabbiner, or rabbi, of the old school. And in September of 1833, which would be 833 for those having a hard time to accept this, the provincial, and it's a different 833, you must be mindful of that. Because everything ain't as fast as you think it is. I mean, as slow as you think it all along. It's all been pretty fast, sorry. The provincial government issued a decree confirming upon the chief rabbi the power of proposing candidates for the various rabbinates of the province and of making an appointment when the congregation failed to inform him of a vacancy or rejected the candidate proposed by the Landsrabbiner. This decree, for which Trevis was declared by his opponents to be responsible, brought him into conflict with the congregation of Jeviko Harnes na Morav, that Postavet, whatever that word is, and Lostist. And 5 years later, May 23rd, in 1838, another decree canceled the chief rabbi's privilege of proposing candidates. Abraham Nuida, rabbi of Lostis, whom Trevis refused to confirm on account of liberal synthesis, was reinstated after having passed a successful examination before a committee of which Trevis was a member. Now, this defeat and the censure of the government for his opposition to the use of the German language among the Jews greatly affected Trevis, who died while on journey to Kolovi Radi. The fact of the matter is, remember I was expressing to you in 1939 is when they were semi-completing the Yiddish language. You can find it in Arthur Koestler's and about 5 other books. It was a language that they pretty much comprised based off of the way they spoke before that, the Gujars, which were gypsies, by the way, when you think about Theodor Albert Herzl and so on. Why did I read that? Because the years they put is 18, it's 830. This is how quick this happened. They want you to believe that it happened some long time ago. So if it's 1832, 19, think about it. It's 1,000 years you need to remove. Why is it important to know this? For one, he got a big ass fez on his head, for those who know what fezes really look like. Now, the other part is when you think about Moritz Steinschneider. All right, as we were reading, he was an Orientalist. Do y'all know what Orientalist means? Oriental stuff. Remember I was talking about Theosophical Society or the American Theosophy Society? The AME, the so-called black leaders, Bible 31C, the betrayal. Oriental Studies is an academic field that studies Near Eastern and Far Eastern societies and cultures, cults, languages, peoples, history, and archaeology in recent years, and the subject has often been turned into the newer terms of Middle Eastern studies and Asian studies. Remember, I showed there's a map that shows you that so-called America is Asia or India superior. They had to change that. That's why everything has not been quick. It hasn't been slow. It's been quick, but not as quick as you think. Okay? So anyway, the Oriental Studies is Europe. In Europe is today generally focused on the discipline of Islamic studies. The study of China, new creation, especially traditional China, is often called sinology. What is sinology? Sinology, also referred to as China studies, is a subfield of area studies or East Asian studies involved in social sciences and humanities research on China. It is an academic discipline that focuses on the study of the Chinese civilization primarily through Chinese language, and we all know it was never called China until y'all got it. You want to say 700-800s? Exactly. Just like Japan and everywhere else, Russia, all of it. Why is this study important? Because this is how they hide themselves. You know them to be very fast talkers and liars at the same time, and very nonchalant about it because they believe with their right fictional stank ego that they are in control of everything, but they are studying our old world and how to undo it. So every time you run around calling yourself black and African American and all this other stuff, denying the fact that you are the sons and daughters of Shem, that you are an ancient people, an original people, and you allow them to teach your children on a system developed by that which would kill your babies. I have to say it that way because he funded, not in secret, Margaret Sanger and all those who are part of that whole infirmity. Okay, infirmity. Anyway, let's go on. Anyway, we go back to what I was reading. The Europeans studied the region formerly known as the Orient, okay, had primarily religious origins which have remained an important motivation until recent times. That is partly since the Abrahamic religions in Europe, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, originated in the Middle East, and because of the rise of Islam in the 7th century, consequently, that would be the 700s, there was much interest in the origin of those faiths and of Western culture in general. I'm going to go back and I'm going to read something to you, and I'm going to see if any of y'all remember this. Let me scroll back into my notes. I want to make sure I read it as it is. Remember, we was reading the Algonquin conquest of the Mediterranean region of 11,500, which was based upon 11,000 to 12,000 years ago, right? And we'll get back into that. But this has to be done. So, as you're aware, Christopher Columbus never existed, but now there's a Christopher, but he's not from where you think he's from. And there's also a deity the fake Vatican used to worship was a bust of this Cristobal. So Salvador Zarco Hernandez, the real brother, and his cousins before he even came here, he had met us on 17 occasions. So what that would allude to? What would that allude to? That Moritz Steinheimer and all these other freaky deaky names I mentioned, Ruth Benedict, Margaret Mead, Edward Spear, Franz Boas, the list is long with these things. Okay? They always knew we were here. They had visited just like they did Palestine. When they talk with their put in position fake king and queen, which they falsely claim when you talk about Geneva and everything else, and even that little deal they had to be able to take the land of Palestine. Now, for those who watch West Side's videos, because I expressed the West Side, and I know it's the first time him and many other people have heard it, I've said this for over 33 decades, before they settled upon Palestine, they looked at several other countries, and America being one, to which they said there's no way they're going to do it here. Why? Because this is the real old world. Most of you melanated brothers and sisters are not from Africa. You was always the first and original people here, just like we were everywhere. And right now, it's a very hard pill for most pale skins to swallow. Now, I don't have to pick up the book White Slavery. There's no such thing as white slavery. There's you light-skinned folks that were enslaved, because during the time that we ran the government, a lot of you who were here were proxy and working amongst our people, learning our languages and our ways. Those very same people you would consider like double agents. Not all. And some fell in love, not just with the old world, but the truth of who we were before the destruction, which war was always at our door, because we were having intermittent fights, because y'all established yourselves as a new people, and there were still melanated people coming from so-called New Age Germany, France, Spain, and all those places, and they would play a very disruptive and destructive role as well. When you have beautiful women who are voluptuous, all the talents and all the skills, the IQ wasn't even a thing. That's even a made-up fraction. But anyway, it was well known who the inventors and who are the builders, the great builders and pioneers, the original cowboys, the harmonic musical people that made the world, its heartbeat. They had to destroy that. And in order to do that, you must marry in, and you must convert or convince children of another direction. Well, they had already did that around the world for about 3 centuries. Those would be the people who you see now running around claiming to be this, that, and everything else they're not. But it's upsetting to see you melanated brothers and sisters, and you light-skinned brothers and sisters, holding on to a lie, pushing in a narrative, pushing them further away, because it not will only be the light-skins' destruction, the fake Jews' destruction, it will also be those brothers and sisters who, when they hear the truth, hold on to the lie. I don't care about your position or where you stand. How many of y'all know about Wilhelm Marr? Do y'all know why he was an anti-Semitic? Well, how about the fact that most people don't know? If you wanted to find out the word, you can go to an actual so-called Jewish site, a Chazar site. The origin of the word anti-Semitism. I can go down and read all of this, but I'm going to hold it up and you can go find it and read it yourself. Okay? But what I want you to know is Moritz Steinheimer played a part in that. And Friedrich Wilhelm Adolf Marr played a part. But who you want to look at, okay? I can't stand looking at, not yet. And now this is open democracy. This is one of the things you could say ADL. But how many of y'all know about Nathan Barbaum, 1864 to 1937? Austrian writer, Jewish thinker, and nationalist. Wicked Commons Zionist Archive. This is where you can find it. Some rights reserved, objectively, I have to read this, have ceased to be a goal not only of popular writing on the subject, but also of scholarship. And the line between intellectual engagement and political activism hardly exists today. Michael Stanowski, Zionism, a very short introduction. Written in German in the Austro-Hungarian, I want to speak the language, Austro-Hungarian Empire, Theodor Herzl's Der Judenstaat, the Jewish State, the Judenstaat, the Jewish State, 1896, which would be 896, is widely considered Zionism's founding document. It was in the same country 6 years earlier, and the term was coined by Nathan Barham, also anti-Semitism. That was reinstitutionalized in 1934 to keep everybody away from what was really happening, especially with the Federal Reserve questioning the murder of certain presidents. The truth hidden, like in Holiday Inn with Bing Crosby and his female side thing, right? Doing blackface, showing you exactly who Abraham Lincoln's father and his cousin and his best friend told you he was. Though I am dark but comely. And they had to change that. Ergo Hollywood, which is truly about a certain wood that was used for casting spells, dealing in the occult, for those who actually wanted to pay attention to theosophy. And knowing that liberalism, to which we would never stand by, was never of our soil. It is strictly what they created based off of Marxism to dissuade and destroy who we were in this country, the original leaders of this country. When you want to go back to all the fake history of a fake George Washington who never existed, and you want to keep pushing a new narrative as if these things are paramount because they paint pictures and created the white cities and all the other stuff of our old worlds that were very ancient and old, and because they had to take a bunch of Cabbage Patch children and a bunch of orphans, and some of those Cabbage Patch were melanated, and those people play a billionaire role as well, okay? And to cut you away from your true heritage as if it would last. Well, Putin told you the truth. The Vatican always, those individuals over there on that our old ancient landscape, with some of these fake Italians running around. I hate to say it that way, but y'all brought nothing but garbage with you, not us Sicilian brothers. And there's a lot of Italians who I respect and love. But the majority, when you think about the mafia, look at what they were doing with the olive oils. These sick bastards are no different because they're Sephardic and crypto, just like the ones in Mexico were killing their own people, all the ones who are from us. All right? It's no difference. Just like those so-called Chinese who keep attacking and killing the Yukar people. In Japan, thank goodness the Ano people, well, they pretty much feel like they've whitewashed them enough and changed who they were to a certain degree, what's icing on meat. And then you have Indonesia messing with the Papua New Guineans, and nobody's saying nothing. See, I have a whole bunch of brothers who have had enough, and they're ready to start, like they said, go down to Haiti, all hell will break loose. And the problem is, if they decide to, you need to pay attention to these leaders in this so-called Africa. That's why Haiti, when you think about barbecue, he don't want to be out there doing what he's doing, but he has to deal with these other gangs who are corruption, a breed apart, who keep the killings going, who are finally wanting to sit down. But nobody's hearing that because what is the news doing? They're downplaying the importance of the melanation, the fact that we create oxygen just like the trees. Sorry, my pale skin brothers and sisters, you do not. But anyway, right? Facts. The enemy works with things that are not human. And because you choose to call yourself everything dead, you unalive yourself at every turn. And you choose to hold on to people because they have a bag? Because your mammy and poppy were ignorant? Because your teachers, as you see right now, go and look at how many teachers are being found with child pornography, this, that, and all this other stuff. Just go look. You think this lying media is going to say something that's grafted in and scripted just like the CIA and the alphabet groups? Because they have, you know what you have right now? You have look at this, look at the 17-year-old boy that was ran over by the police officer who didn't know what he was being chased for. He probably was too scared to pull his trigger, so he figured running him over, or he was sadistic. When are y'all going to rise up and say, we don't care about your costume and your badge? See, y'all have been well indoctrinated. Not today. See, there's certain places where that don't go down. But because you know why? Because a lot of y'all are weak. He looked just like Theodore, right? Just like an Iranian, right? But you see they're trying to make a war with America and UK against Iran? That's their people. Look at Turkey. Right now, Turkey's probably got one of the biggest armies, and nobody's saying nothing about it. And why were they always attacking the what you call it? Somebody see me a note. Anyway, the Turkeys were always fighting the Kurds. The Kurds ain't been nobody's problem because the Kurds in Turkey, the Kurds are the original people who are still from Turkey. And the Ottoman Empire was created by the very same Gujars. They've been doing this around the world and nobody's been paying attention, but damn if it continues here. So what I'm saying is y'all better start teaching it. I don't care if they want to fight back. I got aunties and uncles and daddies. Well, Uncle Gary knows. Aunt Joe says she knows. But she was the first one saying, we do have some African. No, we do not. But she won't say we got Dutch bloodline. She doesn't know about we have a Chinese bloodline. And the fact that our Chinese people were darker than her, who are Katay, but they weren't Chinese. They were part of the segregation who fled here, especially with the fall of Alaska to this fake Gujars, who were the same ones as far as the Bolsheviks in Russia. But nobody wants to have that conversation who took those 100,000 people and put them on reservations who we actually fought against. Because during the Spanish Civil War, we were fighting and killing them as well. Which it wasn't no Spanish Civil War. It was that word by the very same people because, yes, FDR and all them other ones are the same individuals. Do the research. And here y'all run around calling yourselves because it's entertainment, because a bunch of dumb comedians say it's funny, because a bunch of hypocrites in the sports arena that's rigged, who get to have millions and look down upon you when they're actually beneath you because they become stars. You are above the universe, but you are the universe, and you don't know this. And you still want to hold on because the ignoramuses are in positions. That's how they play it. They put people in positions so you aren't heard. They hide things. They keep people from seeing stuff. They manipulate, and yet you still choose not to go out there, you brothers and sisters, and sit there and say to people, you don't need Bobby Hemming. You don't need Malachi York. You see what they done to them. One had a stroke. Wonder how. The other one's locked up, and he ain't did nothing illegal, even though he had a lot of land. Nobody's paying attention to the young brothers and sisters who are having land occupied by some of these Gujars, these big pale skins, all fat and nasty. I don't see nobody talking about saying, can we get together and let's go over there? No, you got to be manipulated. You got to be controlled by some fake media. Or you got to worry about who's going to run up on your door. Boy, you people are scary. You know the difference between you and I? And then the relationship between the Negro and the Jew? Well, one is fake and one is real. I'm aware of the truth that I don't have to manufacture because I had recall. And you're still running around in a lie and full of a whole lot of fear that is very toxic to your existence. Welcome new subscribers. I think they're letting all the people are they subscribing, putting fake subscribers because they want to hear what the story is. I keep sniffing, I keep smelling something foul. Let me see who all came in here so I can shout you guys out. Ocelot, Delusions, shout y'all out again. Herbo, Tariq Peters, Ocelot, excuse me, Lloyd, Mikey Cox, Herbo. Excuse me. I know it's Monday, so a lot of people are, hey, thanks, Lloyd. That's my brother did it. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Did any of y'all go and check out Jamil Shamsi? What you call it? Man, I put it on so it come on, and I was listening, bro. Excellent, and I fell asleep, man. God dag nagging, man. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. We have to support one another, but we have to do more than that. We have to be the light beyond the end of the tunnel for one another. Okay? No, I shared with you. So that way you can go and look again. No, I just set it up because I just tapped on it. Anyway, let me pull it up real quick for you. Okay? Because remember, it's J1 the Night Wolf, all right? That's why I said, you know, I showed it to you guys. I want y'all to pay attention to that. Excuse me, okay? Oh, my goodness. Excuse me. Why is my stuff going up like this? I wanted to give you the actual, remember I showed you yesterday? They really in my stuff, y'all.
I knew when I first started.
Okay, that's not it. Radio stations. Hold on. That's my baby. Okay, I got you. Hold on. Because see, you know, I have Telegram, right? But it was on walled. Hold on, Kusa community. I want to make sure I got it right. So I know he let Facebook. I mean, make sure. I want to make sure. Because all I did was tap on the thing. They sent me, and I was, you know, I went right because I know I listened to J1 the Night Wolf, and he has a YouTube channel, J1 the Night Wolf. Okay? Not the Gray State Trailer. These days, I got you. Hold on. I don't know why it's not pulling it up, guys. This is what happens when they're being nosy in your stuff, okay, and they don't like what you're talking about. You know? They really be doing it. I can't even come out of the thing. Hold on. This is pretty sad. I'm in Telegram, I'm in this group called, hold on. All right. So anyway, the broadcast was at 6:55 East Coast time. And what was it on? Washington, D.C. News Talk radio station. DC News, Carl Nesson show. I want to make sure it's the right one. Okay, no, the podcast. I want to make sure I got the right one. Because there was a couple of podcasts we get in this group. Hold on. See, I just tapped on it in here, man, and that's how I was able to listen. And I was half asleep, and I was listening, and I went to sleep. Hold on. No. Hold on. Hold on, now. Mahalo. Right. That's not it. That was a different one. That was a different one, people. And then they wanted us to call in yesterday, Sahani, and I couldn't do it. Like I said, I was tired. Did he take it down after he went live? Anyway, I could just pull up J1 the Night Wolf. Okay? Let's keep it simple. I think it might have been, it could have been on, I don't know. I just tapped on it. I was in there listening. Hold on. It comes right up when I tap on it. Nope. Because I know it was in Jah Brickz Multimedia. If I'm not wrong. That's old. Yeah, they've changed it up, man. Because I used to watch all his stuff on J1 the Night Wolf. Let me go to his channel. Because he hasn't really been doing nothing. Excuse me. Jamil, if you ain't here, man, say it. Because I tapped on the damn thing and I don't know how. I was there listening. Because J1 the Night Wolf, he hasn't been, I think it was on Instagram, if I remember right. I went to sleep. It was playing. I was like, I know I set it up. No, not that. Oh, no. No. Why is it not pulling it up? What kind of trickery we got going on here? Remember I was showing y'all what it was? This is the right account. I'm not syncing nothing. These people have lost their minds. Wow, y'all. I was showing y'all yesterday, right? I can't even pull it up now. I'm serious. It's blank. I don't know what they're doing, y'all. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. But it was it was like a radio station actually, but I tapped on it. I think I pulled it up in WitchGuard, and that's how I did it. I can't remember. I told you I was tired. I went to sleep. And I was listening to it and I fell asleep. What is this? What is going on? Boy, you mentioned them Chazars, them fake ones. Boy, they get all worried. I guess they believe in their lie that deep. No, what they do is they believe in what they're doing, but y'all don't believe in anything. Anyway, it was at 6, yesterday, remember? East Coast time. And my brother's in Texas, as you know. So I shared it yesterday. I don't know why it's not coming up, y'all. So I can't go back. I don't know how I did it. I think I did it when I was in it's not there. It's not showing it, y'all. I don't know what's going on. This don't make no sense, y'all. Let me make sure. Hold on, make sure. That's it. 2020. Oh, they bugging, y'all. 2020. I don't know how I lost it, y'all. I'm dead serious, man. It's not pulling it up. Same thing with me and Snoo when we're chatting. She sends messages and it's not showing up. So you got to find it. I don't know. Was it on Facebook? Can't find the replay on YouTube. I don't know. It might have been. I don't know. I tapped on the dang thing, bro. I don't know. Look on there. Just look on there. Go to Jamil Shamsi's page and see what you find, man. I don't know. Because like I said, I was tired. I pulled the thing up. Let's take a look. Okay. Because you had 16 hours ago, you had Niece Deece, right? So anyway, this is what it was. WOLD C News, okay? Type in WOL. When I tell you something from now on, remember it. Take notes. WOLD C News, okay? Jay Winter Nightwolf, the host of American Indian and Indigenous Peoples Truths on WOLD C News, okay? I'm hungry now. They really nosy in my stuff, man. It tickles me. And the internet's working fine. And it's just everything is so slow. There we go. So when you pull it up with this Jay Winter Nightwolf, you can pull it up on his name, and he actually has his own which was a smart thing to do because you had all these idiots going on there crying and stuff. So you can pull it up and you can listen because I remember I had it on there, and then I fell asleep on it last night, So, you know, you got to figure it out. So it's like a radio station. Okay. He addresses many things. So I would advise you to go over there, or you can just go over to J1 and Nightwolf Productions, which let me put on the other one. It looks like this. Radio station. Bada, bada, boom, bada, bing. And on YouTube, I used to watch him a lot. And on Instagram, was it Instagram? Where he always had these sisters and they would have these great conversations, bro. It was like deep. And some kind of conversations they use the term black. J1 and Nightwolf knows that black don't exist, but you got to entertain some of these ignoramuses who don't know no better, okay? So there you go. All right, because I tapped on it and you just listened at the right time. That's what the whole subject's about. I fell asleep on it. I was tired. And I ain't wake up. I woke up about 3 o'clock, 3:30 this morning. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? I waited about an hour. I started to go back to sleep. It started to get a little dusk outside. I was like, I'm going outside the ground. And I've been up ever since. Took a nice little cold wash off, like bath, you know, shower, I mean. And I was like, I need to do this and talk about these things. Now, there's a lot more information, not to get off topic, but I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen. I just would like for y'all to reach out to all your children, your nephews, your nieces, and stop calling them black. That is not, you can pull it up. In the 1940s and 50s, you call somebody black. I don't want to say nothing of violence, but they would stab you. They would shoot you. I don't want to be violent. I'm talking about a historical fact. My great-grandmother, Retina Lee, she knocked this Jewish woman out in North New Jersey on Broad Street. Knocked her clean out in the middle of the street. Cars and stuff. Them built 55 Chevy. Called her a black B word. Mama Tina turned around, looked at her, and Mama Tina got them irons. Listen here. She hit that fake Jewish woman and knocked her clean. Said, don't you ever come around me? And she said to her, because I was with it. I was a little thing. Going to Woolworth. She said, don't you ever bring your felonious behind around me on my land? And she said it just like that. And ain't nobody run up and do all that stuff. There was a lot of melanated Italians. Man, ain't nobody. Mama Tina was known because she worked for a few of them in New York. She slid that woman straight out in the street. And I remember when we was walking away, she said she ain't even from here. Mama Tina kept that 38, that snub like mom, like grandma, like Cat and Mama Tina, boy. Listen, and ain't have a problem pulling it out. If you was threatening or a danger, and I ain't want to talk about what the men do. I told you about my great-great-great-great-grandpa. He killed 3 of them, came off the boat, Ellis Island, came down there trying to get the land where families buried at and everything. And he put them all in a pine box, all 3 or 4 of them. Was it 4? I got to call Gary. It might have been 5 of them. Every one of them. Quick. So they took him and put him in because of who he was. They tried to put him in asylum. They said, we can't do that because everybody knew who he was. So he was a great chef and cook. Wrote and had some of the best tobacco on. They said, okay, well, from now on, we want you to, on every weekend, we want you to work the train. And, you know, he always had the family come, riding out trains. And that's why I know what I know. That's my great-great-great-great-grandpa I'm talking about. Not my 5 times over 4. So, you know, all right? And the family always went and hung out with him every weekend, or else he came to the family and hung out. Otherwise, he was chefing all the time for all these foreign, big, this, that, and other. You know, like I said, you know what you don't know. You know what I mean? And like I said, a lot of you don't know it, but you're royalty. Just because you got a certain name or whatever, I keep telling y'all Lucifer isn't what y'all think it is. And I know people are having a hard time. They could have said the name could have been Peter. Or during Tartary, names were a little different than how they're pronounced and mentioned today. And we didn't walk around with 3 and 4 friggin' names. We didn't do it. It's one name. A term or frequency or whatever you want to call it. All right? So please, for the brothers and sisters, don't worry about the ignorant. Make it your business to re-educate, if you want to use the term educate. Because, you know, we didn't have these HBCUs and all these crappy schools with people running around twerking at the vice president's house and all this goofy stuff. We had halls of science, halls of literature, halls of languages, halls of music, halls of aquaponics. agriculture, halls. Appreciate y'all taking the time. I'm going to go and get something to eat because I am hungry. It's not my love. And look, ask Jamil. Dang it, you're supposed to be friends with Jamil. Ask him, all right? Where can I get a replay? So and he'll probably let you even use it. You dig what I'm saying? But it was a radio station thing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Hitler knew who you are. They tried to say he didn't say that. Hitler did say that. I was in South America when they were walking around talking about, y'all, you didn't know what Hitler said in Germantown? I was like, you know, they're trying to debunk it. They're always trying to play down and lie about everything. But see, people are starting to realize, oh, snap, it was the truth. They lied about everything they've done. All the so-called Hitler witch hunt. They were going after the people who knew what they were doing and they wanted to keep them silent. And they were actually going to kill those people from Germany who were actually doing the right friggin' thing. So, and still, today they're talking about some friggin' BS Holocaust, ignoring what's going on in the world and everything else. I don't want to hear nothing about no damn Holocaust ever in my life again when all the people died down there in a matter of 10, 20 years in South America. Well, down there in South America. Y'all know them. Anyway, so y'all can understand. South America, Papua New Guinea. I don't even want to talk about Australia. I don't want to talk about our people right here on the rivers by these same bastards. You can't come to my face wearing some little tassels, walking around with some black hat on and think, man, you better stay very far away from me and all the people I know. We're not happening no more. Anti-Semitism, that's these Selma bastards running around in costume and everything, murdering the true Semitic people, like it's going to get them a reward. That's why I talk about certain things, Aleister Crowley, this, that, and other, so you have a clear understanding. Now, I'm not saying that Lucifer is a good name either. I'm just saying that they're not going to tell you the truth. Okay? Anyway, appreciate y'all, my beloved sisters. If you ever show up, my brothers, you already know. And to reading time, roughly about 3 o'clock, all right? Well, damn, Snoo, you just showed up, baby girl. You know, I know you're at work, mama. And it's is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? What day is it? April Fools. Let me stop. You know, I don't get caught up in that fake stuff. You know, I had to do it. No, not April Fools on what I was telling you. I just shares real information. But anyway, love y'all. I'll catch y'all later.